Hey friends, it's day 4 of 10 days till a decade. Boy, did I not want to do this one today. I'm just tired, not feeling it, but that's what it is. It's the support of you all that is pushing me to keep creating these. So we'll get right into it. Day 4, this is when it starts to get bad. I was about a junior or senior in high school, and I went from just drinking at night to drinking during the day. I was starting to steal to support my habit. I would pinch money out of the register at the job that I had on campus and buy myself a sixer or a case or whatever, or a bottle of whiskey. And because I ultimately didn't like the way I felt. And, I'm ADD, so my brain and my thoughts were running like 1,000 miles an hour, and the only way to slow those down was to stay drunk. So it's, the ups and downs of my emotions were severe. So to combat that, I would stay drunk to maintain like this like even keel. And I wasn't stumbling all over the place drunk 24/7, but I was drinking and smoking just to get through the days. This is at 23, 24 years old. I mean, one of the memorable stories that I have is I was drinking with some friends in Canada on a bender, and we were out and about. It was October, and it was about 20 degrees below zero, and we were messing around, throwing lawn chairs around, and they were shattering like ice. And then we got the bright idea to start climbing on the roofs of this random house. And as I was climbing up there, I got up there, and we're just knocking on windows, trying to wake people up and just being fucks. And the lights popped on in the house. And so I spun around to try to escape, and I fell 2 stories straight to the ground. I had to get 8 staples put in my head. And I don't know if you know this, but in Canada, healthcare is not free for Americans. So my friends took me to the hospital. They took care of me. And as soon as I was released, I was hanging at the home base in Canada, handing out my Vicodin to people and continuing to drink. You would think falling off a roof in Canada would be enough to be like, hey, maybe I should pump the brakes on this. And it just wasn't. Like I said in the previous video, there could have been a point where I could have stopped and like, yo, this is too much. And this would have been that point, like at this period of my life, like, junior or senior year of college. I just was fed up with my lot in life, and I just kept going. I was stealing liquor. I was stealing money. I would just drink screw cap wine and chug it down as quick as possible because I started getting alcohol withdrawals at this point. And when you have alcohol withdrawals, your veins feel like they've got needles and sand in them. So I got to a point where I couldn't stop drinking. And now what I know about alcoholism is you can't just stop drinking when you've got alcohol withdrawals in the shakes because it can be deadly. So if you're listening to this right now and you're like, oh, I got to quit cold turkey, and you're drinking the amounts that I was drinking, please don't just quit cold turkey. It's very dangerous. But I had drank myself basically out of a home, and I ended up in Homer Glen, Illinois again with my parents, and the only rule was no drinking, no drugging. And that just made me sneakier about it. And eventually they kicked me out of the house, as they should have. I had a choice between a halfway house in Harvey, Illinois, which is where I was born and not the greatest of areas, or Bloomington Normal. So I chose Bloomington Normal, and I'm like, I'm going to go down there, and I won't be drinking as heavily because I won't be around all the people and the places and the things. But what I know now about myself is I brought me with me. I brought that insane thinking with me. I brought that self-hatred with me. I brought all the failures and the resentments with me. And I would continue to drink down there. So the next video, day 5, is going to be what people ask, well, like, what was the point when you had enough? And it happened down in Bloomington. I drank myself to the point of physical withdrawals from alcohol. I was no good to anybody. I was a thief. I had no conscience. When you're drinking and putting chemicals in pills too. I think I was doing a fair amount of Klonopin at the time that I got prescribed to me because it was just easy to get pills. So I was a big pile of toxic mess. And, I wasn't a bad person trying to get good. I was just a sick person trying to get my fix. That's the common misconception. It's like, oh, they're terrible people. It's like, no, I was inherently good. Like, I didn't want to steal from people, but if it was the difference between me shaking and feeling ice in my veins, or stealing money out of a register at work, or stealing a bottle from the grocery store, I was going to do that. I ended up in jail because of it sometime. Like, I think I did a night or two in jail for thieving. So it started to get really bad at this point. So I'm about 24 years old, now living in Central Illinois, and we're getting to the end of the Drunkalog. So if you've watched and enjoyed this, please share it with someone who knows who can help by doing this. And that's the purpose of this, is that someone gets something out of this and might decide that maybe sobriety might be a good fit for them. So, but it's not the only way. I'm not here to tell everybody to get sober. It's just, that's what I had to do. So, peace.